So when you met Jan, which was about 18 months after this, that first meeting, that I would imagine is a very nerve-wracking experience.
Yeah, that was pretty weird because literally the day before I was meant to go overseas, I actually got some information about Jan, and the plan was I was going to write to her. I tried writing that letter about 3 times, and I mean, what do you say? I guess.
What do you say?
Hi there. Remember me? Probably not. So basically I waited till I got back and I phoned her up. Mm-hmm. And of course the first thing she said was, why now? Because of course she had worked on the assumption that I always would have known that I was adopted.
Oh, okay.
So for her it was completely out of the blue. I mean, I don't think she thought we were ever going to meet. So yes.
Did you think of saying, I forgot?
I should have popped Mum on the phone. So we arranged, she lives in Perth, we arranged for her to come over. And it's the only time in my life I have changed my outfit about 6 times. Because it's just like, too racy. Oh no, bit slutty. No, too conservative. Because for some reason you're thinking this has got to be the quintessential me when she opens the door, which is insane.
But it's also, that's really sweet because that's basically, this is my mother. I want my mother to like me.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So I did, the suckhole came out of me again. I bought a big bunch of tulips and arrived at the door and she opened it, and thank God, I think after this very awkward hug, the first thing she said was, would you like a glass of wine? I said, yes, please, and we both threw that glass back pretty damn quickly, and I think that's when we both realised we at least had one thing in common. So that was good. But
you said you've seen a number of similarities between you. What sort of things?
We've got really similar interests. We love a meal out. We love a movie. We both love a book. Yeah. And people tell me that I especially look like her after I've had a couple of drinks. Because apparently I get very heavy-lidded. In fact, people have told me I look a bit like a sleepy budgerigar. And apparently Jan is a bit heavy-lidded, and apparently, yes, we're particularly alike.
The sleeping budgie sisters. That's very
right.
Beautiful. Were you ever curious to find your biological father?
I'd quite like a fact file. I wouldn't mind a photo and just, here are the diseases you can expect. But it's just so great with Jan. Apart from being vaguely curious, I can honestly say not that fast.
Your latest show is about it's called I Failed, and it's about your failure, hosting a Sydney breakfast radio show. Can you take us through the spiral?
Okay. Well, I was asked to do breakfast radio in Sydney, the jewel in the crown. Not by the time I was finished with it. Look, I was terrified going into it. I knew it was a big gamble. Possibly didn't think it would go quite as badly as it did. Anyway, it came to the end of the year and management basically sat me down and they said, look, we've done a lot of research and our core listeners hate you. Difficult to read between the lines with that one. So they said, look, you've got the choice. You can keep beating your head against a brick wall with breakfast and maybe people will come around eventually, or you can switch to National Drive. I had to think about that for about 1.5 seconds. And even though I knew certainly in the media's eyes that would be seen as a demotion, I couldn't have given a rat's ass. I just thought I'll get back to living a normal life, normal hours. And National, I thought, well, that's great.
Can you explain some of the culture of that you're being asked to work in, some of the things that the radio station thought you could and should do to build an audience?
Look, the story I tell on the show that I think people find the most, unbelievable. Breakfast radio, they really are nutty for a stunt. So we were trying to come up with a competition and these 2 guys have walked into the room and they've got looks on their faces like the idea we are about to present to you is spun gold. So we're sitting there, they've gone, okay, haven't run this idea past legals yet. And look, we've got a feeling that you guys probably won't do this exact thing, but this is really the kind of thing we want you to do. The idea was that you'd get a celebrity, and I swear to God, the example they used was Guy Sebastian. You'd get Guy Sebastian to donate his sperm.
That's easy.
Oh,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, I know he's a virgin, but I've heard he can't keep his hands off it. So Guy donates his sperm, and the woman who wins the competition gets to impregnate herself. I'm not making that up.
So they suggested this to you, and how did you respond?
We actually didn't need to say anything because clearly the looks on our faces, like it was like as it was going out of their mouths, they started to pull it back in. Like it was that real kind of, and then she'd impregnate herself. But of course we thought you probably wouldn't do that. So why don't you come up with something else?
So how did you get over it? It was a very public thing for you, and it was big, you know, it was played out certainly on the stage of Sydney, but also nationally in some ways. How did you get over something like that where you basically told in the end, you know what, you're staying?
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say the confidence wasn't, you know, going through the roof at that point. I did the really mature thing and I drank like there was no tomorrow. For about 2 or 3 months, I just went in hard. Then I woke up and then I guess I started writing a show about it.
You mentioned that you drank heavily after this, and indeed throughout your career, you've been very good at hitting the bottle, isn't that right?
I must admit, I don't drink like I used to.
Where was that coming from? Was this all because of just that weird family?
I just love it.
Oh, well, that's fair enough.
I drink when I'm sad. I drink when I'm happy.
Yeah.
Drink alone, drink with friends. I just like drinking.
Just like the taste?
Yeah.
What about the after effects where you feel terrible?
Well, that's why I can't drink like I used to because, yes, a hangover can affect me for 2 days now, and that's just heartbreaking.
Because I remember Anthony Morgan, a stand-up comedian who was a professional drinker. He could drink for Australia. And I still remember hearing the story about you and he going to have a drink.
Oh, dear.
And you drank him under the table.
Oh, I don't know if that's true.
No, in fact, I remember him saying afterwards, I've never seen anything like it.
I do. Anthony Morgan's mother did say that I drank like a man. So, and coming from Anthony Morgan's mum, I took that on the chin. I use, you know, drinking's like just about everything. Practice, practice, practice. So, you know, when I was in top drinking form, I could keep up with the boys there for a while. But, those days are gone, I'm afraid.
You talk about you drink when you're sad, drink when you're happy. A lot of people look at you and I suspect think, oh, you know, the sad clown Judith, all her stage shows are about things that have gone wrong and I failed and this and that. When do you triumph? When are things great for you?
When are things great for? I don't know. It's like everyone. You have your moments. You have your good days and your bad. I mean...
Well, what do you like when you're happy?
I guess I'm like I am when I'm sad, but I'm not crying.
That is the
we know
worst
I'm still
definition of happy
drinking,
I've ever
so
heard.
I don't know.
It's like I am when I'm sad, but I'm not crying.
Write that down. That's going to be in one of those little book of thoughts one of these days.
Could I suggest on that evidence you haven't fully grasped the concept of happiness?
Well, how do you define it? I don't know. I guess.
Okay, let's talk. Your fiancé, Colin. Okay.
Let's use that word a lot.
You like that word?
It's such a bad word. I like to use it all the time.
Why is that a bad word?
Oh, fiancé. It just sounds ridiculous. Doesn't it?
What else? You can call him your piece of trouser?
Yeah, there's that.
Yes.
That guy. Hey, you.
But previously, you always used to talk about your love life as basically you were just grateful for whatever attention you could get.
Breathing? Come on home.
Now, that's the thing too. I mean, why did you have to feel that way about yourself?
Look, I don't know that I was the Lone Ranger.
No,
Most people I know in their 20s, it's just like someone's interested in me. That's enough. And, you know, consequently, I had a lot of bad sex. I make no bones about that.
So what's different about Colin?
The sex is pretty good.
It's more than that.
Look, he's not married, unemployed, or an alcoholic. So these are all steps in the right direction.
These are all good, but there's not a reason enough to become affianced.
No, that's true. Well, I don't know. I guess I just met Mr. Right. And he asked. No one else asked. See, you could have gotten in if you play your cards right.
I could never drink that much. So